Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the 14th episode of Ada the Autistic Alien. I'm very happy that you're here with me today again, and I really hope you're doing good. With me, it's like, my life is still a bit chaotic and very turbulent, so sometimes I'm not sure on how much longer I will proceed with recording this podcast because it's still like taking around 4 hours out of my work week. So, it's sometimes a little bit much to do. So, I'm thinking of taking a little summer break or something, but for now, I'll keep on keeping on because I'm not a quitter. And I really love like recording this, and I really hope that you are enjoying it as well. So, today I want to talk about sound again. I know I already did an episode about that, but sometimes like it's also hard for me to come up with new subjects every week because it's like, oh my god, like my life is sometimes so busy that I can't really focus on finding new topics. So the thing that I'm currently doing is a training in sound energetics. So that's a very fancy spiritual word for actually working with singing bowls and working with other things that vibrate and for that have a certain effect on the body. And because I think it's very interesting, I thought that maybe I'll just make an episode about that because maybe you're interested in that too. And I feel it's kind of related to that podcast as well because my best friend, who is also the producer of this podcast, actually said to me I should record a podcast because, in his words, I work when I speak. So, and that's like what I found to be true too. Like a lot of feedback from people is that, Dada, I could listen to you like for days and days and days. Like it doesn't even really matter what you're saying, like without disrespect or anything, but I just really like to listen to your voice and I really like to listen to you saying things, no matter what they are. And that's why I'm actually recording this podcast. And now when I like started this training and I started studying, I found out that, or like I knew that already, like oftentimes when I do like trainings or stuff like that, it's not really that I learn something new, but it's more like, oh yeah, that's the name for what I already do. Or it just makes things clearer, right? Because I come from this very vast background of understanding of things, and it's not necessarily rooted in having studied everything. Yeah, a lot of what I do came to me by doing it. Yeah, that's why I talked about embodiment in the last episode, like with the dancing, about like I believe that by just letting the mental state aside and the worrying and the questioning and just doing things, we actually find out how they work. Yeah. And I mean, I can think my way around things for such a long time. And then I start doing them and I realize that I missed a little point in the beginning and everything that I thought of will not work because of that. That's why I really believe more in the power of doing than in the power of thinking. And there is so much wisdom to be found in doing. And that's what I learned. Like, okay, I got like fascinated by singing bowls when I was like 15 or something. And then I just bought some in a Tibetan store. And like I just played around with them. And now like for sure that's 20 years ago. So I did a lot of things with singing bowls already. But now when I read this training, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. So I sometimes believe that, we really put too much strain on the mental body for like saying like all our school systems are built upon the fact that, oh, you have to learn it mentally and then you can practice it. And I think it's the total opposite way around. So when I do classes or when I teach people, first of all, I bring them into a space where they trust themselves that they can do it. Yeah, that it will take a lot of practice and that it will take a lot of time to be a master of it, but they can do it and they can do it right now. And not when they studied for 3 years, yeah? And for sure, I'm not talking about like heart operations, you know? But even that, you know, like studying how to actually heal a wound and healing a wound are two different things. They are totally different, yeah? And I strongly believe that there would be very better ways of teaching and of learning, as with my singing bowl experience. Know that just through my curiosity and through my practice, I actually taught myself everything, or maybe like the singing bowl taught me how to use it. And it was very intuitively. And now I read this training and it's all put in very rational words, but it's exactly what I do. And it's exactly what I understood just from practicing, just from using it directly. Yeah. So that's why I believe there is a lot of power in that. Nonetheless, I really like to do trainings because, like that, it's easier for me to frame things, right? So, like the example I said before, that me and my best friend, we know that there is something with my voice or the way I speak or whatever, like it just like translates very well. Yeah. And like the main chakra in my system is the throat chakra. That's also where my power lies. And that's also the way I heal. Like when I do shamanic sessions, I use singing bowls sometimes, like I do sound baths and stuff like that. But it's more like the main work I always do with my voice. So I sing and I sound, you know, like I think I talked about sounding before, didn't I? You know, like just like expressing really what I sense. And, you know, you can. I actually made a video about that. It's on my YouTube channel, Dada Chi, if you want to watch it. How it works shamanically. And it's also that, like, a lot of these, like, let's call them entities, yeah, or energies, like just foreign energies that are stuck within our field, yeah, they react very strongly to my singing. So what I can do is kind of hypnotize them with my singing, and then some of the members of my spirit guide team will actually like transform them into beings that no longer like take away energy from human beings. So even in that, like I work a lot with sound only. And I don't think it's like the only way that somebody can heal or do this work. You know, I think there are very different approaches. But that's why I wanted to like dive a little bit deeper and just like understand maybe a little bit more. And what I think was very fascinating, like, is something that I never really put in words like that, you know, because when I put things in words, I often use left hand path words. So I will say, you know, I sing and I do this sound baths, and then you will feel more relaxed and you will feel more connected, and there will be things transformed inside you yourself. And now I read this training, and actually I think sometimes that's why I do these trainings, to like understand how the right hand path has translated this knowledge, so I actually can speak the language that this world actually speaks at the moment, which is the right hand path, right? So I do this training, and it says when we are exposed to same patterns of rhythm, as I said, like I already covered that in the last episode with that we go into trance, right? When we have repetitive movement in the body, or we have repetitive drums, or we have this overtone music, which is singing bowls as well, or we have this chanting, which is what I do when I do shamanic healings. And now in this course, it really also describes again how like we change these brain waves. But then also what I found is very interesting is that what is so like healing about singing bowls is that they vibrate so long. Yeah, so you can like, a good singing bowl sings for quite a moment once you like start to sound it. And this like length of the vibration goes into the body over the metals when you put them on the body or very close to the physical body, because we are made of so much water. And when you do like a sound massage, like a proper sound massage with singing bowls, and you put them on the body and you sound them when they're on the body, like it's for example very important that the patient afterwards doesn't smoke for 2 hours or do like certain things that are like, let's say, rather poisonous, because of the vibration that goes so deep into the cells and everything, and just like massages everything from the inside kind of through this very slow and soft vibration. Everything that we put into our body afterwards will go much deeper inside the cells. And I found that very interesting. And what I found very interesting as well is that just the way they put it, because I'm like talking about trance, and that's just not a word they use, yeah. So they're more like into, yeah, your patient will go into this super relaxation state, a state of deep relaxation or deep meditation. And they never use the word trance, and they also like don't use a lot of the things I also know about singing bowls, because I guess they are too esoteric or too spiritual, which I think was also like a little bit sad. But anyways, so I found that very interesting, that like just to find out that maybe deep meditation is even just like the right hand path of trance, because to me they are not the same thing, like, how can I put that? I guess like the right hand path again has like this thing of, oh, it has to be this way. Yeah, we use that for relaxation only. And that's the reason why we use that. And so we call this state deep meditation. And when I'm in deep meditation, I'm like in a very soft spot where everything is one. And, I know that place, and I know that sound baths can get you there. But then sound baths can get you into different states as well, which I would like describe as rather psychedelic and rather left-hand path in their ways, simply because there is more allowance. Like, how to say, when I use sound, and my intention is to just get you relaxed, yeah, then there is very little space for your true exploration of what will happen. Because I put this very right hand path view on it of that's the way it is. That's what we are doing it for. And of course, it has all these benefits, but we do it for relaxation. And when I work with sound, which is like not only sound baths, as I said before, it's more like also maybe a little bit like other sounds that are not as ethereal as singing bowls. I really want to work with the body of the client. Like, when the body of the client wants to move to a certain sound, they should move to a certain sound. And they should not lie down and be there just like, oh yeah, this is meant to relax me, so I have to relax. But it's more about an invitation of when we synchronize the brain waves and we actually go into a more right brain perception, which funnily enough is the more creative, less rational, then why only use that for relaxation when we can actually use it for inspiration and for healing, or let's say for expression? Yeah. And like, I just see when I look at this training, so much of, we don't like, they also say like, and that's true, like nobody knows where singing bowls come from. There are many legends around them. Most probably they were first used in the Himalayas. Nobody knows how old they are. Like, they are as old as we can say that anything is. And the legend has it that the original singing bowls were made from 7 metals. But then again, like the compounds of which 7 metals kind of varies. And so it's like, I just found it so funny because I don't regret buying this class, but I know more about singing bowls by using them for 20 years than these guys know that. And I don't mean that in a cocky or arrogant way, absolutely not. And for sure, maybe there are like, maybe this is not the best class on using singing bowls at all. Like, I don't know, but still, I just found it so funny that by just using them and meditating with the singing bowls and listening to their stories and just like, connecting to them, I kind of know everything there is about the use of them. And like, I couldn't put it in words as it's written in this class. So that's not what I want to say. But I feel like I know so much more about their meaning without having to put it in words. And that's where we are at again with that schooling thing that I said before. That, in the end, this is all just kind of like put together again because they don't know about the origins. They know so and so much about this and that. But it's like, just so much myth around the actual topic. And then how you use it is like also it's also kind of cute where the way it's written is kind of cute because it's like you always ask, like that's what I do since I work with them is I ask the bowl, yeah. And then like in this class they say, oh, you need this bowl and this bowl and this bowl, so you need kind of 3 different bowls. And I can like agree that it's good to have different sized bowls, right? But then again, like there is also so much emphasis again of needing many bowls, and I don't believe in that. Like for sure, if you need like, I just like again, I was very much confronted with this thing of the right hand path, which like it has its legitimacy. I don't know what the word is. It's legit. Yeah, that's how I can say it right now. It's for sure legit for people that maybe like have no idea at all, but then again, I believe so much that learning new things should also always be a very self-empowering experience. Yeah, it should always be a self-empowering experience. It should never be an experience that empowers others. So when I learn things and the emphasis is always on that's the exact right way to do it, then I don't really learn my own way of doing things. And my personal experience is whatever healer I work with, whatever normal doctor I work with, whatever dentist I had to work with in my life, those that put in this extra thought were the ones that were really good. And by that I mean those that maybe learned something the right hand path, but then understood that they have their own power, or maybe they had the right teachers who implemented into them the thought that they are the future. So there is always a way to do it, but there is also always like improvements to be made. And those who work like that really work in tune with their own truth. Yeah, they work how they like also morally can accept to work. And those who were not empowered in themselves while they learned, they will always do it exactly like the book has told them. And they will very much also be stuck with the truth that they know is the only truth. And it's that truth. And everybody who is not according to that truth is not true. Yeah, so it gets very radical. And I feel that's why maybe, like, I'm wondering, I wanted to talk about sound right now, but now I'm talking a lot about this right hand path, left hand path again. And I feel like maybe that's also because it's really needed on this time, in this time on this planet. Because I feel that's where we get so radical in our belief systems, when for too long time people were disempowered to really believe in themselves, to like improve things, And yes, there will be people that feel like they can improve things and they will fuck them up. Okay. But there will be so many that will really improve things. I believe in the good of people at the end of the day. And I believe that a lot of the good people were just too disempowered by the system. And that's why, like, when you are disempowered and you, like, don't trust yourself, that's the point where you have to lean on others' knowledge. And that's why I start every class or everything with the empowerment of you can do this. You can do this because I can do it. And that means you can do it too. Yes, you have to learn it, but you can do it. And that's the bottom line. Yeah. And that in many, many, many trainings today, that's not the bottom line. The bottom line is you have to prove yourself. You have to prove that you can do that, And, my technique doesn't mean that everybody will proceed and everybody will actually choose to do what they are able to. Because these are two different things, yeah? Only because we can do something doesn't mean we have to do it or we have to, like, enable us to do it, yeah? But my bottom line is if I can do it, you can do it too. If you put the effort in and if you really want it. So let's first look at if you really want it. And if you really want it, you can do it. End of story. And maybe for some it will take 10 years and for others it will take 2. But that doesn't matter. Yeah? The main thing is that you learn your way of doing this, what you want to do. Because we don't need to copy everything. Yeah? We are unique and we should keep this uniqueness alive. And not in a sense that it, like, takes space away from others, but that's also something that I learned. There is enough space for everyone when everyone owns their own space. Yeah? Like, there is only too little space for people around people who take up a lot of space when these people do not take up their own space. So people who take up a lot of space are just an invitation for you to take up your space as well. And I feel like it's the same with that, like, for sure, a sound bath maybe always includes singing bowls. But now I made this, like, training as a sound energetic, and it's all about singing bowls. And I'm very happy that they mention, oh yeah, like, you can also use singing, you can use other things, like, tuning forks? Yeah, that's the right word. Like, there are tuning forks that you can also use with vibration, and you can use them in combination with crystals and gemstones. I have some of them and they're really cool. Like, I also feel them vibrate and they do a lot within the body. But all of these are not really covered. Like, the whole class is about singing bowls and how to use them and how to use them on a client. And I really like that, it's interesting. Like, if you don't know how to do that. But I was like, okay, like, if this is, like, about sound energetics, as they put it, and about how to work with sound, why is there not much more emphasis on the other tools? And then I understood that you can't do that. Because again, it's left-hand path, there is, even for, like, singing bowls, I feel like there is no scientific proof at the moment that they work. Like, there is, like, studies have shown that they have this relaxation effect, yeah? But it's not like that anything has proven that they are healing or anything, yeah? They just provide relaxation. So, and the other things have not been proven to provide relaxation by themselves, like tuning forks or shamanic chanting or whatever. Also due to that there is no research on that, yeah? Like, nobody funds a research like that. If they do, I'd be very happy to give my voice to that research so they can, like, try to find out what it is. But also I believe that we don't have the right tools at the moment to really measure the effect because we are looking in the wrong places, yeah? But that's, like, a topic for another day. Anyways, so I believe that it's very, also here again, like in spirituality, and I feel like that's what I covered also in some episodes, is that there is so much right-hand path, yeah? And I feel like it's so important that we feel what we do. Because, like so many people I see on social media, like influencers or however you want to call them, like when I look at them, I'm like, this is not authentic. And I don't mean that like in a judgy way, like because a lot of things are not authentic, but I just feel that, they maybe did a class or maybe they did a workshop or whatever, and then they just go out and they like totally copy what was said to them, but there is no real experience because they haven't healed their trauma, so they are not embodied. Yeah. So they're just like, it's like this spiritual bypassing of the heart that happens quite often because we all want to be somewhere without taking the path below our feet to actually get there. And and that's where, like, sometimes, yeah, I have to admit, sometimes it also triggers me because I'm like, okay, these people have like 150K followers, and all of these followers have the same traumas as they do, and they are not embodied, and they're all like hyping this stuff. And it's just not authentic. And it's okay, But then again, like, it's so hard to be authentic in this world because most people will not get you because they're hidden below their mask. And so, even if they might feel interested, it's too much of a trigger to see someone that's authentic. And even like, like sometimes I wish I wasn't so authentic because I can't just like do videos when I don't feel like that, or I can't just tell you something that I heard by someone that is not like proven by my own experience. I can't do that. I can't do that. It's like I have to really live through everything before I pass it on. And it really has to be of value to me that I pass it on. And it's never about actually me. It's not about, oh yeah, I'm so cool because I passed this on. No. It's like I feel it's my duty. Like, okay, that's what I do, no? I go through things, I work them out, and I pass them on. So that's actually a kind of good loop to kind of come to an end with this podcast because that's like what my best friend was about when he said I should record it, right? Um, so yeah, like I just feel sometimes that we are all like so lost in this thing of that's like some like so much disempowerment, right? Because I actually believe that like all these people, they would be like super good influencers if they would be authentic, and if they would like not only pass on this weird spiritual knowledge that they got from their own teachers, but like the spiritual knowledge that they got from their own life experience. And there are some of them too, like, and I really love that, like this honesty and this rawness and stuff like that. But like sometimes it's also, yeah, I agree, it's triggering. It's not like all nice and fluffy and cute, and it gets you into the process. And I believe that like social media is a lot of escaping. It's not really about confronting. So maybe also like it's just not like the place to be anymore. Like in also maybe, yeah, why not? I share this now with you. Like sometimes I really believe that social media is at the end of its like thing because it's like only about entertainment. And not so much like some parts of it are still about information, but very few of them are really about authentic and original information, let's say. A lot of it is just copy, right? And I'm really like, at the moment, I'm really wondering a lot of times what will come next because I feel like there is an upgrade there. I'm not quite sure how it will be, but I feel like there is something going on that will like, because it's just like social media is dead. And I believe that there is something new coming. Maybe it's the communities that a lot of us build, like I also build Enzo Elia, that more of this will happen, of like really people like choosing the artists they want to support and be in these online communities rather than being in one spot on social media where they are exposed to no matter what information and no matter what advertisement and no matter what cookies and no matter what like regulations. And I would really love that because I feel like I said that in an episode before that we're not really meant to think globally. We're meant to like think in tribes, and tribes have like maximum of 30,000 people. And I believe that like when we choose the circles we want to participate in. So for example, I offer Enzo Elia with the weekly shamanic dances, then I am myself a member of another online circle of another shaman I really adore. And so like, and then like I have other people that maybe have online women's circles or whatever. And I feel like maybe that's the thing that like before the mood was like, okay, we all go there and we have to like fit in. So we have to cut off certain parts of us that are not liked on Facebook or even now disliked or whatever on Facebook and Instagram and so on. And now we go into a phase where, and that totally actually aligns with everything I read about astrology at the moment. We go into this phase where we choose the circles that we feel so good in that we do not have to cut anything off of ourselves, but we can be fully ourselves, and we can like do that by really meeting people on the outside, or we can do it in our own online space. But because I feel really it's shifting, like I think it's so boring to scroll through social media, so like I replaced it completely with my online access to my own programs and to the programs that I am subscribed to from other shamans and artists. And it's so liberating because it's always good content, it's always very inspiring content, and it's just a switch from using one app and scrolling there and another app and scrolling there. It also takes more of my energy, of course, because I'm really learning something. I'm not just doom scrolling, but it makes me more aware also of how much time I spend on my phone, and when I'm tired, I can't continue, which I can with Instagram and so on. Yeah, because it's just stupid information. Not all of it, of course, but yeah, so that's like the shift that like I can like kind of sense in my field. I never worded that out before, so I think it's kind of interesting that I said it now. Because I feel like that's really like where we're going to, really like choosing the circles that we want to belong, and then like also testing them out if they are what we want or if we are just projecting something there. And if they are what we want, then okay, we belong there, and then we can like expand that and like choose more circles to belong to. Yeah, because like all the time we spend on social media, we could be part of like 10 circles easily and do like one meditation in that circle, and do like, for sure there are also like subscription fees, so for sure maybe you don't want to be part of 10 circles. And I can just speak for myself, Enzo Elia is so full of content that maybe you don't even find time to have other subscriptions. But still, like, we doom scroll so much, and like all these social media things are so filled with envy and hate, and like so many traumatized people that just don't know that they're traumatized. And like, for sure there's also a lot of beautiful things. I don't want to like talk that down, and I see that, and I have a lot of it on my social media feed, for sure. But still, like, I can do things with more value for myself, because like in these, like, the things I subscribe to are all about really going into somatic experiences. So it's not just about scrolling, it's about, oh, I go into Enzo Elia and then maybe I read about an exercise, and then I do the exercise. So I get physical again. I take my phone and like I go into my phone to escape, and my phone tells me how to arrive more in my body. And it's not just my phone, it's a video of Dada that tells me how I can like just work with my body right now. And I can do that, or I can't do that. Or I can just like scroll on and read about runes or about something else that interests me, or listen to some podcasts that are exclusive to this area or whatever, But it's like, I really feel that that's what we all need. And I feel also like what I also uncovered within myself is that I still have a little bit of trauma through all that happened in the pandemic. Like, it's really hard for me to have a positive outlook on the future, because everything that happened for me as like a very small entrepreneur was really horrible. And it's like also like now everybody's just like, oh yeah, don't get vaccinated anymore. Like in Switzerland, doctors get fined if they now, or like doctors take the full responsibility if they still give the vaccine to patients. And so they actually fucked my whole life over. they almost were able, like, killed my company because of all the restrictions they put up. And now they don't even admit their mistake, you know? And it's kind of like I realized that also with socializing and with going out and everything, it did a lot to me. That's also one of the reasons why I'm thinking of like not doing this podcast anymore, because it's again time I have to spend in front of a computer, and I have spent so much time in the last 2 years in front of a computer. I'm sick of it. Yeah. And that's also why I want to do this dance classes and everything, because okay, it's still over Skype, but at least we meet and we do something, and it's not just sitting in front of a computer and talking into a microphone. Yeah. Because I really feel like there is so much energy inside my body that got just stuck in this pandemic. Yeah, nobody is really like taking responsibility. And that's like, I was never a fan of the state or of anybody. And like this now, it's just like, you know, like there is a part of me that's really like, whoa, like, wow, how can I like live here? You know, how can I live in this system? And it's everywhere. It's not that I can escape it. I kind of understand why Elon Musk wants to go to Mars so badly, you know? And so yeah, I just feel that we all have something like to work there. And like it did something to our social behavior. It did something to our self-reflection. And not all of it was bad. Yeah. But I feel like there is some things that we got very aware during the pandemic that they are stuck within ourselves. And I feel now it's time to start to dance with these things. And we have to stop to try to belong to circles that do not accept these stuck things. You know, I was just thinking like, oh, fuck, now I talked about vaccines. Maybe they will ban my podcast now, you know? And so that's like a platform where I would not be allowed to dance with these stuck things that are inside of me, yeah? And wherever I see that, I will not dance there anymore, but I will find circles and I will create a circle where these things can be danced with, where these things can be looked at, and not in a psychological way, not in a mental way, not in a right-hand pathway, but in a wild way, in a way of dancing with it, in a way of dancing back to that 15-year-old who got stuck in taking drugs because the world was too much to feel, and taking her here, going back, dancing with that 12-year-old who lost her mother and got stuck there and did like very harmful things to herself because she didn't know how to handle her emotions and nobody was there to help her, and dance with her and bring her here to the now, where she is free and where she is healed and where she can live her life. Yeah. And not trying to still belong to places where we are not allowed to be our authentic selves. Because I also believe that most probably I do not have that many followers like these, like other Insta influencers or whatever, because I'm authentic. You know, that's not what Meta likes. It's not what they want to push. Yeah. You have to be different in a very, very normal way to be pushed. Yeah. So that they can still put you, even in your total weirdness, into one of their drawers. And as soon as they can't do that, they will not take care of you being seen, you know? It's that easy. So it's not only like, I really feel that these platforms, the more and the more, are made to make us superficial. And it's our decision to step out of it and say, I don't belong here. You don't make me into what you want me to be. I make me into what I want to be. And I will find circles and I find people who support me in that and who love me for that. And I will not stay here. And I really feel that's going to happen. We'll see how long it takes. Sometimes I'm a bit early with these kind of seeing things. But we'll see. Yeah. Okay. I really hope you listen to this episode. I was a bit here and there and everywhere, but I hope it was interesting. And yeah, I thank you very much for listening, and I hope to hear you next week again. Wish you a lovely weekend ahead and sending you much, much love. Bye bye.